Other than the dark days of residential schools, the people of Wikwemikong are extremely proud of their history. As you drive into the community, there's a sign that reads, "This is Canada's only officially recognized unceded Indian reserve." It all dates back to 1836, when the British designated a large number of islands in Georgian Bay, including Manitoulin Island, as permanent Indian territory. Their hope was that all First Nations people from Upper Canada and beyond would want to move here, and in so doing open up more land elsewhere for white settlement. But when that didn't work out, the British returned with a treaty in 1862 and tried to buy back the island. According to Roland Pangawish, Wikwemikong's chief wasn't interested.
And in particular with Wikwemikong, it's called the Unceded Indian Reserve because of a surrender that took place, a treaty that we opposed in 1862 that we refused to sign because we had signed a treaty with Sir Francis Bond Head in 1836 in which the British promised that these islands, all the islands between Sault Ste. Marie and Penetanguishene, numbering some 23,000 islands, that those would be ours forever, our property. So when they came back in 1862 wanting to get more land, and our chief said, no, you know, this is ours, this is the promise, and we've never, you know, given up our rights here. This is our land, and we don't want to part with it. But they were able to induce some other people to sign this agreement, and we refused. And at that point, they said, well, everything east of the line from South Bay to Manitowoc Bay, they drew a line, and they said east of that will be the unceded portion. So from that point on, we were called the unceded. And it has a lot more meaning, I guess, in the sense of the continuous line of our occupation of the territory and all the legal rights that entails. But unceded also has implications under the Indian Act, where it says under, I forget what section, but where it defines an Indian reserve, it says property that's held in trust by the Crown for the use and benefit of Indians. But there's a subsection there that says special reserves. And special reserves are defined as land which is held by someone other than the Crown. And in this case, Wikwemikong Unceded Indian Reserve is classed as a special reserve because the property lies in our own interests.
And what's the advantage of that?
Well, it's not a matter of land being set aside or just for the use and benefit. It's actually our property. We own it and have never relinquished our jurisdiction over the territory. So as far as our people have always been concerned, this is our land and we hold jurisdiction over it. And of course, in trying to come to agreement with all that means with the government of Canada, there's a lot of differences of opinion as to you know, what our rights really amount to.
But it's something people here seem to be very proud of.
Yes. Yeah, we are very proud of our status as an unceded Indian reserve, and to us it's something that we've inherited from our forefathers and that we intend to pass on to our future generations in terms of this remaining our land.
These young dancers represent that next generation. They're learning at an early age that being proud of who you are builds self-esteem and strength of character.
That's what makes you that better person, is because you're proud. You don't walk around like this like some of them do. I said, you're like this. And people know, like, you know, that, like, people know who my children are.